Hello everybody, today we're gonna talk about how to go viral. My full name is Zablon Mukuba, and to my friends they call me Zabi. And let's start. Well, going viral is like chasing a lightning in a bottle, and it's something that we all want, and something that is really dreamt upon by content creators. I myself try to make my videos as interesting as possible to get as much views, as much shares. I know people go viral for several reasons, and some of the reasons that are more common is if you post cat videos, if you post dancing videos, and if something happens that is crazy. Viral stuff like lip syncing, TikTok dances, funny skits, that's the normal stuff that makes people go viral, or rather that trends a lot. Even animal videos, cats, dogs, that's the stuff that is shared a lot. Other stuff that is shared a lot is more controversial, violent images, hate speech, and also nudity. But because I'm talking to businesses and business owners, that's something I don't think any of us can touch on or come close to. So we're gonna discuss how to grow to become viral as a content creator for your business, and how to make sure your content is seen by as many people as possible. So it has been done and it can be done. Every platform is different, and some platforms to work in a different way in terms of pushing views or pushing virality. For example, it's way easier to go viral on TikTok than on Facebook, because Facebook restricts who gets to see your content unless you pay the money. Your content is only seen by a couple of people, and then if those people like it, let's say 5 to 10, it expands to 100 to 20. If those 20 people like it, it expands to 100, and then 1,000, and then it's stuck like that on Facebook as well as LinkedIn. The interesting thing about TikTok works very differently. You don't even need many followers, you don't even need many views. All you do is the algorithm might pick what you like, and boom, you become viral. Another platform where it's easier for you to grow or get a viral hit is on YouTube. YouTube has been very kind to content creators. If you're in the right niche and in the right time or in the right moment, YouTube might pick your video and push it to its people, and then boom, you're an overnight success. It's way harder to go viral on Instagram, as I said again, Facebook, but the rest of the social networks, they are more it's more possible. So the definition of virality is the phenomenon where a piece of content is shared rapidly from person to person, often across multiple platforms, generating exponential reach. The key metrics to check on for a video going viral is share rate, save rate, watch time if it's a video, engagement rate, and follower growth. Share rate is just basically the number of people who share your videos with their followers. Save rate also, as the name says, the number of people who save. Watch time, if this mostly works for videos, and it's if your video is 10 minutes long and a good number of people watch either all of it or 75%, that's a good indicator for the platforms to push your video to other people. Engagement rate, this is in the form of likes, comments, subscriptions, and lastly, follower growth. When you put out your video, you move from 1 sub to 10,000 subs, or from 1 like or 1 follower to so many followers. But a viral video is not mostly about getting 1 million views per se, but just getting a huge jump from what you normally used to. Right, so let us look into, here are a couple of tips to think about going viral without posting a dancing video. So the first thing to do is to teach something forbidden. Not something that is crazy illegal, but just teach something that triggers curiosity through your experience, something that feels off limits. Try to talk about something that is unspoken, some untruth or insider knowledge. The reason for this is because you want to be seen as an expert. You want people to find out information that they felt that was out of reach, and it's a psychological trigger where they go like, this person knows something. This guy must be an insider. He must know industry secrets. Like, for example, investments. If you know something in investment or in what else? What's a good example? An industry hack, misconception, insights that could be contrarian to what people commonly believe, and simplified solutions to current problems. Let me give you an example. Something that is hidden that people don't know is, let's say, for example, how much influencers are paid for their content. Another thing is how the bank makes money with your money. I think that not many people know is, if you're a freelancer and you're trying to make money, finding new ways how other freelancers charge more in the internet. So why this works? It works because it positions you as a person with unique knowledge. FOMO is triggered, fear of missing out, and it builds trust quickly. So when you're coming up with your content, or you're coming up with catchlines or your call to action to help your content move out, you can use stuff like, nobody talks about this, here's what I wish I knew before I started, the uncomfortable truth about this and that. Point number 2 is come up with a soap opera, a mini soap opera, a mini story. Human beings are more inclined to follow stories, or more interested to follow or gossip, or how things have evolved over time. They're not more inclined to follow numbers or figures or stats. So we are wired to relate with stories. Even you're told, whenever you're giving out facts or you're giving out any presentation, you're told to relate with a story so that people can understand and get value from your thing. In that light, you should think of ways, or you should think of a story you can relate or narrate to your audience. And it doesn't have to be one video, it can be a series of videos, a series of posts, a series of comments, a series of threads, to make your thing more attractive and make it take off with the virality. Try to ensure your story is full of tension, it has transformation from point A to point B, and there are plenty of cliffhangers. You would see this working really well on Twitter, where somebody says, you will not believe what happened to me, especially when you dive deep into this thread. This strategy is very, very powerful because it connects with your audience emotionally, and they invest time in your journey and how to improve themselves. Once they've read or watched 1 or 2 videos, they're more inclined towards the rest because they're curious and they love what you're talking about. So you come up with a series of videos, a series of posts, a series of tweets that link to each other. I wonder what they call tweets these days. Are they called X's? God knows. So how to structure your story? The first thing, there are around roughly 5-7 steps. The setup, the struggle, the turning point, the result, and the reflection. So the setup, you introduce the problem, tension, drama, dilemma, honestly being raw and honest. The struggle is what is going wrong at the point of time or what you're trying to solve. The turning point is when you found the breakthrough or the solution. The result, the final result, revealing the outcome, whether it was good or it was bad. And then lastly, reflection is like when you sit down and go like, oh, this is what I've learned and this is what you should do from my experiences. Here's simple ways of simple storylines or mini episodes or soaps, like like the Spanish ones or daytime drama. How from day one, how to grow my business from $0 to $500 or $1,000. Launching a new product from scratch to here we are. Launching a social media page from 0 followers to X amount of followers. Why I almost gave up on my business in month 6. So people love to hear that stuff. So like I said, why people are interested in this, it builds anticipation, it creates relatability, it triggers comments like, keep going. So simple tips for this to work: label your content like episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, so that people can follow or people can go back and find out the origin of the story. And then one way of ensuring that success, try and post at the same time every day, every week, every period. And when you're posting your content, one of the call to actions you can use is you can ask, should I keep going in the stories? Are you interested in this? Comment below on your advice and follow us to see how it ends. My third point is exposing a broken system. There are things that happen in our lives that we know are wrong, but nobody ever talks about it. Imagine being the first guy to say it, going like, by the way, this is wrong. This is pointing about a broken system is where you talk boldly about something that is not right according to government institutions, according to social norms, or how companies are treating us. Like, let me give you a simple example where people find it wrong, but it's just nobody ever talks about it or until it is brought into the light. In the past, here's a simple story before I get into everything. In the 90s, people used to be charged exorbitant fees to use an ATM. The irony is you're paying money to get your money. I understand the machines have a cost and the banks have a cost to run the machines, but the figures people were being charged were ridiculous until a company came and went like, okay, 0 ATM fees. And then all of that changed. So why this works is because your audiences shares your frustration. The outrage drives engagement, comments, likes, shares, and it activates that feeling of I'm not the only one. I feel like something has been touched. So what counts as a broken system? A business model that takes advantage of customers. Adobe, I'm looking at you. Government or institutions that offer promises and delivers. A big shout out to politicians. A societal norm that harms more than helps, and an industry trick that wastes time or money. Like here's a few other examples that other than the ones I've mentioned. Broken systems that you can talk about is paying for a course online and then you realize it's not worth it, or you already know everything they said, and that time you have sunk $500, $1,000. Another thing could be job descriptions. For you, when you're applying for a job, they say you're gonna do A, B, and C, but by the time you get there, you realize you're gonna do an additional DEF, and on top of that, your salary is not as competitive as you think. Another societal norm is a frustrating thing about society is you're not given a chance to actually negotiate your salaries in some places. And then lastly is how in the food industry, how some items are mislabeled as healthy and they're not healthy at all for your well-being. So the formula to follow is, again, 5 steps. Come up with a hook, personal story, breakdown, solution, and call to action. So the hook is point the problem, personal story or proof should show how this instance affected you and others. Break it down, explain why this is wrong. Solution, offer something that solves a problem in that what to in that say that do this instead of that. And then lastly, the call to action is ask people to comment about their experiences, share your content, or save it. Here it's better if you use screenshots, show receipts, and side-by-side comparisons. Point number 4 in going viral is coming up with a 1-minute case study. A 1-minute case study goes to show that you're an expert, you're an authority, you are relatable, and more importantly, you bring results. You can think of something that is small or short, where you moved a problem from point A to point B to point C, and you are the right solution provider in this scenario. A 1-minute case study is something that could be condensed, short, compelling, and you don't have to go into the weeds or dive into details to give out a solution to what you're saying. This is teaching through transformation. So why this works? This shows that you're an expert. It's educational and not much less over promotion, and you give out, rather than giving out abstract advice or ideas from the ether, you're showing people things that actually work. So the structure of your story would be content, action, result, takeaway. The context is what is the subject, what is the problem you're facing or your client faced. Action, what you did. As result is what changed in your situation, and takeaway is reflection on what has happened. So I'll give you a personal example. I was working with a soap company for a period of time last year, and when I got there, the sales were dismal, and the owner was very frustrated. He was thinking about quitting altogether and giving up, going on digital. But he knew it can work, so he decided to get in touch with me, and then we started working. So they were loss making by the time I got there. I went there. I came up with a couple of solutions. I provided structure, and I pointed out 1 or 2 things that are not doing right. And then from there, the business became profitable in that for every dollar they invested, they got back 4 or 5 into their business. So that's a simple story. Anybody can relate, and anybody who is looking for my services can understand. So to make this work, use visual charts, screenshots, before and after images. So one of the call to actions would be for your content is, let me help you like how I helped this business. Save this breakdown and try this later. And which part of this process would you like a deeper explanation? Point number 5 is giving out tools and items for free. Tools or resources. One of the ways that I find I get more clients to my business is by giving out value. How I give out value is by having educational content on my channel like this one. As you can see, I hope you're being educated. The more people see or watch my videos and they understand how I solve problems or get solutions to challenges that they are currently going on, like for example, how to go viral. When you give out free education and free value, somebody somewhere would watch it and share it with their audience or with their other people. Everybody wants to know what's going on and how to solve solutions practically. So why this works in terms of value or giving out resources in terms of tools, like giving out tools like Google Sheet calculators, Instagram captions, Canva templates, email scripts, or call out scripts. They help because it gives instant value in terms of utility, it builds goodwill and trust, and it makes people come to you as an authority. So examples are, like I mentioned, tools that help people grow, like scripts, softwares, or white papers, PDFs, any free content that you can give that then cost you too much time. Next point on going viral is before and after transformation. This really works well in the fitness industry, the beauty industry, and any industry that is visually based. For example, somebody weighs a certain amount of pounds or kilos, and then after a period of time they weigh a certain amount of kilos. This could be either gaining or losing. Another example of before and after is interior design, how the house looked or how the office looked before, and after all the magic has been done, how it looks after. So this works because the content is visually compelling and people love seeing the journey from what happened and to the results. And this provides curiosity, a visual proof, and there's an emotional payoff all in one content. And it encourages people to buy in emotionally to what you're doing or what you're selling. As human beings, we love seeing progress. We love seeing a change, especially if it is something we are struggling with. Personally, when you watch somebody who is relatable, or somebody like us, change their situation from one form to the other, we get encouraged, we follow, and we share the content. So stuff like renovating a kitchen, weight loss journey, rebranding a website, things that can easily be seen, works perfect. So why this works, it satisfies our craving for storytelling, it taps on hopes and inspiration, and it gives concrete evidence of results. So the structure for this would be the pain point before, describing the challenge, the frustration, the limitation, the process, which is during, shows the actual solution in progress, the outcome, this is the results after the process has been done, and then lastly, obviously, the lesson, which forms the reflection. So one example could be this is I weighed, let's say 200 pounds, now I weigh 150 pounds, and this is how I did it. How I renovated my living room at half the fraction of the cost, and this is how this works with carousel pictures before or after, a video that documents the whole process, and this works wonders. Your call to action would be, did you prefer this or that, or how has your progress been? And if you need help, get in touch with us. My next point would be wrong versus right way. This is when you assume you have been doing something right, but you show the people that they have been doing something wrong. In one of my previous videos, I shared on how people are using the wrong call to action and a better way of doing it. People have been doing call to actions, they assume they've been doing it well, but they have been doing as well as they should. So I teach on better ways of using the call to action, the psychology behind it, and to get better results. So this is an example of the wrong way versus the right way. So in this types of content, you dispel myths, or you show people the right way of doing things. You make it is visible and it is simple to digest, and it makes you as a content creator look like an expert or an authority. So an example is of things to contrast is a poor marketing pitch versus something that actually works, generic job applications versus tailored job applications, an optimized website to a website that is working, a salesy post to something that is more relatable. So how to frame this content would be having a side-by-side comparison where you can point out what is working, what is not working. Can be specific. You show the people what is wrong in this part versus what is right, and offering a mini explanation. How to distribute your content to increase virality is, number one is to post the content in the right place. Like, for example, all content is not the same. Posting on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, the same content doesn't work. You have to repurpose content for each platform. So, for example, a YouTube video can be turned to a thread on Twitter. The same video can be summarized in a carousel on LinkedIn, and the same video that you're creating can be chopped up into small pieces to Instagram Reels and TikTok videos. Another thing is to optimize posting times, being Instagram works really well in the morning and lunch, TikTok evening and weekends. LinkedIn is better for morning periods when we're at home. And then lastly, YouTube works every day, all day, but works better on Friday and the weekends. For your videos or content to go viral, encourage people to engage early. The first 1 hour of your content being out makes a very big difference. So tell people to like, post, share, or email your content to your friends and family for them to react, to spread the information. Another way to ensure your content goes viral is by working with others, partnering with influencers, or partnering with other brands. So when you post content, they are tagged, and the same content that you post appears on their feed as well. With that one video, with that one content, when you get viral, here are a couple of things to do after you've seen massive online success, is to pin your high value post so that people can see your content easily. Create follow-up content. Like, for example, on YouTube, you can go like, I made so much money in my first 2 months or 3 months of being monetized. You can have a follow-up video on how much money I made after 6 months to ensure people are following you. Offer a lead magnet. For example, using email lists or people subscribing to your websites, so that when you have new content, you can just post to them and they can see it quicker and faster. Change your profile and edit your bio to reflect the person you are. You say, I am that person who did this. And lastly, it is not advisable to chase the next viral hit. Ensure your content is strategic. Ensure you're following your plan. Ensure you're doing everything right for your business and not chasing virality. And finally, my thoughts. I know what I've told you is helpful and will change your business. I hope you follow the tips that I've given you to make a difference in your content creation. And if you have any comments, If you have any feedback, I'm looking forward to seeing them down below. And with that, I will say good luck, goodbye, and get out of here.